to show you something neat here. You ever seen it snow inside a trailer? If we climb up in here, it snowed. When the unit's actually on, it will actually be snowing, which I always thought was kind of funny. This stuff wasn't so dry, we actually could make a snowball out of it. So there's that. I just thought y'all would find that kind of funny. To a lot of people, this might seem like a pretty good deal, but I'm going to show you the importance of having a good employer and somebody who will help take the sting out of it. Now, I've done a couple of videos. I talk a lot about saving money. It's important out here. You go to these truck stops and a lot of these chains and whatnot, we get gouged. It's a convenience store. A lot of the prices are inflated by 100 to 150%. It's ridiculous. That's why I do a lot of my shopping for my bulk items at places like Walmart, Tractor Supply, Lowe's, and whatnot, because I'll show you some examples here real briefly before we get into more heavy duty things. But what I really want to talk about tonight is why it's important, even as an owner-operator, if you're going to be leased on with a company, to be leased on with a good company, or at least part of an organization or an alliance, if you will, for lack of a better word, that's going to give you a fuel discount, a tire discount, even maintenance discounts at certain places, because these things are important. It costs a lot of money to operate these trucks, and any bit of money you can save goes into your pocket. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to show you some examples. I'm going to show you some of the things that I do to help me save money out here on the road. It's a fact of life, you're going to need things from gloves to gas cans, antifreeze and oil. But I mean, seriously, look at these prices. And if you're buying them on the open market like this, you're just getting ripped off, because there's a 100% inflation. They're overcharging it, from washer fluid to your additives and whatnot. So I'm going to help you find a better way today, but this isn't all we're going to talk about. Part of why we become owner-operators is because we want the independence and the freedom to do things that we wouldn't normally be able to do as a company driver. It's not, a lot of times money's secondary. Yeah, you want to make more money. Let's not be dumb here. We're not going to buy a truck to go broke. But the money aside, there's a lot of freedom we want. But the reality of it is, there's a lot more of expense too. And I'm going to talk to you about the advantage and disadvantage of being with a larger company. We're going to go over a few things. Now, I've gone over stuff, the antifreeze and stuff like that with some of my other videos, so we're not going to touch on that too heavily. But we're going to talk about some of the advantages of being with a larger company. And so, let's get to it. When you buy tires, you have a lot of different options for a lot of different brands. You have a lot of different options of where to go, and the prices are going to vary from place to place. Tires are one of those necessary things that we tend to overlook until we need them. I'm not going to tell you what kind of tire to buy, or what you should, or where you should go buy them, but I am going to present several alternatives to what you're doing to help you generate the best idea you can have to get the best deal for your truck. Buying tires can be a tricky thing. It can be an expensive thing, and where you get them is less important sometimes than who you get them through. And you can get the same brands, you know, a lot of these truck stops have their own house brands, of course, but if you run a major commercial tire, BF Goodrich, Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, stuff like that, you can get those anywhere. And the advantage of getting them through a larger company or through an organization like OOIDA or one of those kind of organizations is that you get a discount and they knock a lot of money off them. I have gotten Michelin tires that retail for $600 and $700 a piece. I've gotten them for $350 a piece. So it's one of those things that you have to be careful about, and you have to really search out. You know, you could probably get a good deal through your guy at home, you know, if he really wants the business. But you got to remember, unless you're home all the time, that guy didn't come out on the road with you, and there's no national account with him. So it's just something to think about. But if you're home enough and it doesn't really bother you, by all means, support local business. But if you're gone for, you know, 3 to 4 weeks at a time like me, a national account saves me a lot of money out here on the road, and I can get my tire fixed anywhere. Fueling is one of those things that you have to take very seriously. Discounts are everywhere for fuel, and depending on what fuel card you have and who you have it through, you can save a lot of money. I save about $10,000 a year using the ComData. Now, how do I do that? The ComData does have an app. Now, a lot of guys are going to tell me cash is king. I'm sorry, cash is no longer king. I get a much better discount than cash guys ever could. I'm saving on the average between 60 and 80 cents a gallon using the ComData card. Now, I get the ComData card through the company, but there are cards you can get through franchises, NASDAQ, OOIDA, and all that will save you 40 to 50 cents a gallon. So that's something to think about. Don't pay cash price. There's no point. You get a much better deal using a corporate card. Now, if you don't believe me, you know, I don't know what to tell you, but a lot of times just get on the apps, look at the prices, and look at what people are getting. I have the Fleet Master app for ComData, and I can compare the pump price that you see there and the cash price to what I'm actually getting, and there's going to be probably about a 50-cent difference there. So let's look it up. As you just saw, that's my price right now. I just looked it up. $1.46 a gallon, not bad. 208's cash price. So, would you like to save 60 cents a gallon? Get a card. You know, the card does cost a little money to use, and there's a service fee, you know, but you know, 1 month of savings will take care of that for the year, and it's well worth it. So that's something to think about. Now, before I go any further, I just want to make it very clear I'm not bashing small businesses or small trucking companies and all that. In this business, we have to find our savings where we can. And so this next bit about general maintenance is doing just that. When you go get consumables and all that, you're going to need washer fluid, antifreeze, and all that. You know, most of these shops, they're going to have it in bulk. Bring in your jugs, they'll let you fill them, and charge you just rock bottom price for it. It beats paying what the truck stop wants. Truck stops have ridiculous prices on consumables. But that being said, you know, you go and get your oil changed and all that. I found it really doesn't matter where I get my oil changed, whether I do it at like the TA or Love's, or whether I do it at the company shop. It's still going to run me about the same amount of money. So if you have a company shop you like and they can get you in quick, great. You got a TA you like, great. Wherever you can get it done efficiently for the best price, that's where you should go. And you know where to go because it's your truck. You've been doing this a while. Just don't skimp on filters. Don't skimp on, you know, preventative maintenance. It's got to be done properly, but at the same time, you want to get it done at a decent price. So I found out that
whatever maintenance you can do yourself, go ahead and do. But with a larger company, they have a lot of the resources to be able to help you get this done more efficiently and at a better price. But that's just my experience, you know. So I'll just stop with that right there. What got this whole line of thought started was that sign, that tire sign. I got looking at that and realized that wasn't a good deal. And it got me on this train of thought, which I'm sharing. You know, it's expensive enough as it is out here. And we're getting gouged, if you will, as owner-operators every chance they can get. I mean, why would you spend, you know, like DEF fluid is $2.97 at the pump, or you can buy a gallon of it in the truck stop for $13.99. So that brings me up to the next thing, and that's major maintenance, major repairs. It's inevitable. You're going to have to get brake jobs done. You're going to have EGRs go out. You might have to get a cam replaced, or a new engine, or a transmission clutch and all that. This is important to have a good place to go with a good price. And if you got a hometown guy who can do this, way to go, you know, and on a good price, I highly recommend that guy you trust. The problem is, you know, when you do 175,000 miles a year, well, that or less, you need a national account, or you need the backing of someone who will help. And that's where a bigger company has helped me quite a bit. I had my truck break down outside of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Towed it right to Pete. They put it on their national account, and I was out the next day. You know, this was helpful because when I broke down, they knew where to go. They had the numbers to call. They gave me a bunch of numbers. I made phone calls. Boom, I had the ball rolling in 20 minutes to get my truck fixed. If you're all by yourself out here and you only got one mechanic you deal with, it's tough. You know, road calls are expensive, and if your company is one of the companies that has an account with a lot of these places, you know, you might pay a little extra to have it billed to you, but I'll tell you what, you don't have to carry cash, you don't have to carry checks, you don't have to carry credit cards. And that's really helpful. So that's just something to think about. Well, not only that, but if you have a national account with somebody like PACCAR, Freightliner, or all that through your company, they will knock a bunch of money off parts and labor. If you've seen the price of labor lately, it's very expensive. And it goes in the computer. So if you get, like when I had my spring replaced, I had it done at a PACCAR place. If something was wrong, I could take it to another PACCAR place and they would make it right. So that's just something to think about. It's nice to have the financial backing and not have to carry that much cash with you to get something fixed on the fly. Makes it a little easier. Now, like I said, if you got a guy at home or you're pretty lucky that way, by all means. But without that backing, it can get pretty expensive pretty quick, and these guys want their money. Now, the one thing I really haven't talked about is, you know, I've talked about the pros. There's some cons. With a larger company, you're kind of at their mercy. There are a lot of rules and regulations and stuff you have to follow that are just company-wide. And a lot of those sometimes make you feel like you've lost a little independence for what you're doing. And a lot of times that's why we got into this business, to be a little more independent. You know, so that being said, there are some alternatives. You know, if you have your own authority and you have your own, you know, numbers and all that, and you pull your own trailers and whatnot, there are alternatives. You know, a NASDAQ card, joining OOIDA. Now, I'm not endorsing any of these things, of course, but if you join an organization like, you know, like OOIDA or NASDAQ or any of these other small trucking co-ops and whatnot, you can get tire discounts. They may not be as good as you like, but a discount is still a discount. You do get discounts on your fuel. You get discounts on repairs. I mean, there's a lot of advantages that you can get by joining an organization without joining a large company. So that's just something to think about. I'm not bashing on small companies. I like small companies. They're necessary. But that being said, if you're not interested in working for a bigger company or working for any company, you have to find out what works for you. What worked for me will not work for you, and I know that. And if you can make a go of it, working for yourself, doing your own thing, your own numbers, stories, trailers, that is cool. I'd like to be there someday. I'm not in a position to do that at the point. So, that being said, I hope this video has been helpful. There are lots of alternatives. There's lots of ways out there. The important thing is to search these things out and find a way that's going to work for you. So, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next video.